Imagine this. The butterflies fluttering in your stomach, that anticipation building, that intense desire to impress and really shine. Now, later on top of all that, the immense challenge of expressing your absolute best self, your skills, your personality, in a language you're still mastering English.
Yeah.
That Well, that's a monumental task, isn't it? For anyone, a job interview is inherently stressful. It's this high stakes arena where you're trying to convey competence, enthusiasm, and a compelling personality in a really tight window. But when that conversation is happening in a second language, it just adds a whole new dimension of complexity and pressure. The central challenge becomes, how do you not just navigate that interview, but truly excel and make a lasting impression when English isn't your first language? It's about so much more than just translating thoughts from your native tongue.
It absolutely is. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that we're moving far beyond just, vocabulary lists or grammar rules. We're delving into the underlying communication dynamics, those subtle signals, the unspoken cues, the nuances in tone and structure that can profoundly shape or even uh, entirely break your impression. This deep dive, it's all about offering you a really comprehensive approach to mastering job interview English. And our core mission here, well, it's to empower you not merely to get a job, which is obviously the goal, right? But more fundamentally, it's to cultivate that unshakable confidence and project genuine professionalism in any English-speaking interview environment. You're going to gain precise, actionable guidance on like what to say, what to consciously avoid, and critically, how to sound natural, articulate, and truly smart. Whatever the job type, whether it's part-time or that dream career you've been aiming for.
And crucially, this isn't just a simple list of phrases to mechanically memorize and then, immediately forget the moment the interview's over. Our approach goes way beyond that. We're going to meticulously break down what genuinely works, what surprisingly doesn't, and perhaps most importantly, we're going to explain the why behind it all. Will reveal powerful, impactful phrases you can immediately integrate into your responses, along with polite yet strategic ways to skillfully tackle even the trickiest or most unexpected questions without getting flustered. We're also going to shine a spotlight on common mistakes that non-native speakers often unknowingly make, mistakes that can subtly but significantly jeopardize your chances. It's about understanding the psychology of the interview, I think, as much as it is about mastering the language itself.
And that naturally leads us to a truly critical element, cultural expectations. These are like the invisible forces that profoundly shape interview dynamics, often silently influencing how your words and even your presence are perceived. Consider the concept of directness in communication. In many Western countries, particularly in professional settings, directness is highly valued. It signifies clarity, efficiency, honesty. However, it's vital to understand that this directness is distinct from rudeness, and discerning that nuanced difference when speaking English is absolutely critical for interview success. What might be considered a perfectly respectful and appropriate way to communicate in your home culture, perhaps through indirectness or deference, could be unintentionally misinterpreted. Misinterpreted as hesitation, evasiveness, or even a lack of confidence in an English-speaking interview. This really raises an important question for anyone navigating a new professional landscape. How do you genuinely convey your authentic self and your true capabilities while effectively adapting to these new, often unspoken communication norms?
You've hit on something incredibly profound there. It's where the magic, or sometimes, yeah, the miscommunication happens. Because you might be meticulously saying all the right words, grammatically perfect even. But if your body language or those subtle underlying cultural cues are just a little off, the entire message can get completely lost. Or far worse, it can be fundamentally misinterpreted. By the time you finish listening to this deep dive, you will possess a robust toolkit, a powerful set of interview-ready phrases combined with smart, adaptable strategies that you can apply with genuine confidence. And that confidence, it will hold, even if you're feeling those inevitable nerves or if you don't have extensive prior experience in English-speaking interview environments. Our ultimate goal isn't for you to robotically recite boring, memorized lines. No way. Our goal is to empower you to articulate your truth, your unique skills, your experiences, your enthusiasm clearly, professionally, and fluently, allowing your genuine capabilities and vibrant personality to truly shine through. So, with that mission firmly in mind, let's embark on this practical journey and transform your next English job interview into a confident and ultimately a successful experience. You know that indelible feeling when you meet someone new, that immediate gut reaction, that instantaneous first impression you form. It's incredibly powerful, right? And it tends to shape your entire perception of that person. Well, in the high stakes environment of a job interview, you opening and closing statements are doing a tremendous amount of that heavy lifting. They often set the entire tone for the conversation that follows, and just as importantly, they leave a lasting final impression. It echoes in the interviewer's mind long after you've left the room. These aren't just polite formalities, they are strategically crucial moments that can truly shape the interviewer's entire opinion of you, for better or for worse. So let's unlock the secret to sounding confident, polite, and undeniably professional right from the very start and at the absolute end. And just as critically, what should you absolutely, under no circumstances, say?
Precisely. The initial moments of an interview, they're absolutely foundational for establishing rapport and immediately demonstrating respect. For crafting a stellar opening, we consistently recommend a phrase like, "It's great to meet you. Thank you for the opportunity." This isn't merely a polite greeting. It's a strategically effective choice that carries multiple layers of positive impact. "It's great to meet you" is clean, clear, instantly friendly, and immediately establishes a positive, approachable connection. Following it with "thank you for the opportunity" explicitly conveys profound gratitude, acknowledging the value of their time and the chance they've given you. The word opportunity itself is particularly powerful because it frames the interview not just as a mere meeting, but as a genuine chance for you to contribute your skills and truly grow. It indicates your sincere interest in the role and the company's future. From a broader perspective, it suggests a mindset of proactive engagement and an eagerness to add value from the very outset, rather than just passively receiving information. This conveys a sense of initiative and enthusiasm that can make a very strong first impression.
That makes perfect sense. It really sets a collaborative and respectful tone right away. Now, on the flip side, what are some definite phrases to steer clear of? I've heard many English learners use things that, while maybe well intentioned, just don't quite land right. For instance, you advise against phrases like, "nice to meet you, sir," or "madam, why is that?" While in certain very formal or traditional contexts, or perhaps in your home culture, it might seem like the height of respect. In most contemporary English speaking countries, especially within a professional interview setting, it often sounds too distant, a bit overly formal, or even a little old fashioned. It can unintentionally create this hierarchy or a level of formality that might actually hinder the conversational flow the interviewer is likely aiming for. You want to establish a professional yet comfortable dynamic where you can genuinely connect, right? And using these titles can subtly disrupt that, making you seem less approachable or adaptable than you truly are.
You've highlighted a critical point there about contemporary professional cadence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the goal is connection, not stiffness. Similarly, when an interviewer opens with a polite, "How are you today?" Hmm. A simple monosyllabic "fine" just falls flat. It comes across as unenthusiastic, maybe even abrupt, and it effectively shuts down the conversational opening the interviewer is kindly offering. Think of it like a conversational dead end. You hit a wall. Instead, a more natural, professional, and engaging response would be, "I'm doing well, thank you, and yourself." This seemingly small adjustment is incredibly effective for several reasons. It's a complete, polite sentence. It sounds genuinely friendly without being overly casual or familiar, and it gracefully reciprocates the greeting, demonstrating conversational awareness and inviting further interaction. It keeps the dialogue flowing. It signals that you're an engaged participant, not just someone waiting to be interrogated.
That's a fantastic distinction. Just saying fine can feel like hitting a wall in the conversation, can't it?
Yeah.
It just doesn't invite further interaction, and you absolutely want to be inviting and engaging from the very first exchange. Now, let's pivot to the close, because that last impression lingers just as powerfully as the first. A strong, memorable close is paramount. You suggest, thank you again for your time. I'm really excited about the possibility of joining your team. Tell us about that.
This phrase delivers a powerful dual impact. Firstly, thank you again for your time unequivocally demonstrates continued respect and appreciation for the interviewer's valuable schedule and effort. It reiterates your gratitude. Secondly, by expressing genuine excitement about the possibility of joining your team, you signal strong, authentic interest and enthusiasm, not just for the role itself, but for becoming an integral part of their organization, their collaborative environment. It's concise, it's professional, and it's genuinely memorable, leaving them with a sense of your positive energy and commitment.
Conversely, there are definitely phrases you want to eliminate from your vocabulary when closing an interview. Absolutely. Ending with something like, okay, bye-bye, is a significant misstep. It can completely undo all the positive impressions you've worked to build. It just sounds childish and inappropriately informal, undermining the professional image you've carefully cultivated throughout the entire conversation. Equally problematic, and surprisingly common, is, I hope you choose me. While it clearly expresses a desire for the job, it immediately signals desperation rather than confidence. This raises that important question about perceived control and professional posture. Phrases like, I hope you choose me, inadvertently shift all the power to the interviewer. It makes you appear as if you're pleading for a chance. Rather than maintaining a posture of mutual professional interest where you believe you are a strong, capable candidate worthy of the role, you want to convey a sense of assuredness in your fit for the position, not an appeal for their selection.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, you want to leave them feeling like you are a strong, confident candidate who belongs there, not someone just pleading for a handout. As you're practicing these critical first and last moments, remember to consciously integrate some key vocabulary that will elevate your overall impression. We've mentioned opportunity, which, as we discussed, isn't just a chance, but a significant opening to contribute and grow. There's also gratitude, which is genuine thankfulness, not just a superficial nod. And of course, professional, meaning polite, businesslike, and demonstrating competence. The real power comes from integrating these words naturally, weaving them into your phrases rather than just using them as isolated terms. This thoughtfulness significantly enhances the overall impression you make.
And the practical tip here is invaluable, and honestly, it cannot be overstated. Practice your opening and closing phrases out loud. Practice until they feel completely natural, almost like second nature. This isn't about rote memorization. It's about building muscle memory for your vocal cords and literally rewiring your brain. The more frequently you articulate these phrases, the less mental energy you'll have to expend thinking about the words themselves in the high-pressure environment of the actual interview. This remarkable efficiency frees up your mental capacity to focus entirely on the nuances of the conversation, the interviewer's questions, and the content of your detailed answers, rather than fumbling with the mechanics of the language. It's about building a smooth, automatic delivery.
That's a brilliant analogy. It is like learning to tie your shoelaces. You don't just intellectualize the process, you do it repeatedly until it's ingrained, until it's true muscle memory. Same applies to these crucial phrases. They are your opening act and your grand finale, and they absolutely stick with the interviewer. They set the tone and leave the lasting taste. Now that we've talked about how to start and finish strong, let's dive headfirst into the very core of the interview, strategically answering those common questions you are almost guaranteed to face. Okay, here's some incredibly good news for you. Every single job interview, almost without exception, regardless of the industry, the company, or the specific role, follows a surprisingly familiar, almost predictable pattern. And for you, as someone navigating an English-speaking interview, that familiarity is your secret weapon. Why? Because it means you can anticipate the types of questions you'll be asked, often down to the exact phrasing. And crucially, you can prepare your answers well in advance. This foreknowledge, this ability to craft compelling, thoughtful responses ahead of time, is a significant advantage. It allows you to walk into that interview room with a profound boost in confidence, knowing you've already considered and refined your replies.
However, there's a significant catch here, and it's a very common pitfall for many English learners. The natural temptation is to simply memorize textbook answers or pre-written scripts. But here's the problem. These often sound robotic, unnatural, and ultimately fail to convey your genuine personality, your unique enthusiasm, or your authentic thought process. Even worse, some answers, while perhaps entirely honest from your perspective, can be entirely inappropriate or misinterpreted in a professional Western interview setting. What's truly fascinating here is the delicate tension between complete honesty and professional appropriateness. It's not about being inauthentic or dishonest. It's about skillfully translating your truth, your experiences, and your capabilities into a form that is contextually resonant, compelling, and professional within that specific cultural framework. So we're going to deconstruct 5 of the most common interview questions, guiding you on how to answer them with natural, confident English that genuinely resonates with the interviewer, creating a positive and memorable impression.
Okay, let's kick things off with the absolute classic icebreaker, the one that often throws people off balance because it seems so open-ended. Tell me about yourself. This is not an invitation to share your entire life story, your weekend hobbies, or your favorite movies. Nope. This is fundamentally a professional question, and your answer must be professional and laser focused on what's relevant to the job. The DO here is to keep it concise, professional, and directly related to your relevant skills, experiences, and work preferences. A prime example is, I'm a detail-oriented person with experience in customer service. I enjoy helping others and working in team environments. This statement immediately highlights a highly valued quality, being detail-oriented, which means you pay close attention to small things and accuracy. Right, it then backs that up with specific, tangible, and transferable experience in customer service, demonstrating practical application. Finally, it articulates a clear preference for team environments, signaling that you thrive when collaborating effectively with others. It's a powerful, concise opener that immediately showcases valuable attributes relevant to almost any professional role.
And conversely, what you absolutely should not say to tell me about yourself is anything akin to, well, I like movies and I don't really know what to say. This response immediately signals a profound lack of preparation, a disconnect from the professional context, and a general lack of seriousness about the opportunity. The interviewer isn't looking for a casual chat about your personal interests at this stage. They are looking to quickly understand your professional identity, your key qualifications, and how those align with the specific requirements of the role. Your primary goal here is to quickly, clearly, and compellingly sell your professional self, establishing your value proposition from the very first moments. Failing to do so can unfortunately brand you as unprepared or unfocused.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, this isn't your first date, right? It's about selling your professional self quickly and clearly from the perspective of what they need. Next up, a question that gives you a golden opportunity to show your genuine interest. Why do you want to work here? This is your moment to prove you've done your homework and that you're genuinely invested in this specific company, not just any job. The DO here is to demonstrate research and genuine enthusiasm for their mission or unique qualities. A strong example is, I admire your company's focus on innovation, and I'm excited to contribute my skills to your team. This immediately shows that you've thoroughly researched the company, understanding and appreciating their core values, specifically their focus on innovation, which signifies forward-thinking approaches and continuous improvement. Crucially, it also strategically frames you as a potential contributor, someone who can actively add value, help the company grow, and be part of their success, rather than just someone passively looking for a paycheck. It shifts the dynamic from what can you do for me to what can I do for us.
Exactly. From the employer's perspective, they're not just hiring a pair of hands, they're looking for an investment. If we connect this to the broader picture of talent acquisition, an employer fundamentally wants to see alignment, not merely a transactional exchange of labor for wages, but a genuine investment in their vision, their values, and their long-term goals. Your answer should powerfully reflect that shared purpose, demonstrating that your aspirations intersect with theirs. Therefore, what you absolutely don't say is the brutally honest but professionally disastrous "because I need money." Well, this might be the underlying truth for virtually everyone seeking employment. Articulating it in an interview completely lacks ambition, shows zero interest in the company's mission, and signals that you are purely motivated by compensation rather than by the opportunity, the company's work, or the chance to grow within their organization. It's a complete non-starter that will immediately raise red flags.
It really is a complete non-starter. It instantly tells them you're not invested in their success. They want someone who's excited about their company, not just any company that pays. Moving on to what are your strengths? This is where you can truly showcase your abilities, but you need to be strategic. Here, you want to be specific, authentic, and most importantly, relevant to the job you're applying for. The DO here is to highlight qualities that directly align with the requirements of the role. For instance, I'm good at staying calm under pressure and solving problems quickly. These are not vague platitudes. They are real, tangible, and highly transferable qualities that are invaluable in almost any professional environment. They demonstrate practical competence and show that you can handle challenges effectively and efficiently, which is a major asset to any team.
Conversely, what you absolutely should not say to this question includes vague responses like, "I don't know," or, perhaps even worse, the unbelievably common and disingenuous, "I am perfect, I don't have any weaknesses." Both of these responses immediately signal a profound lack of self-awareness, an inability to critically assess oneself, or simply a glaring lack of preparation. No one is a perfect, and pretending to be just indicates that you're either out of touch with reality or being intentionally dishonest. Authenticity, coupled with relevance to the job, is absolutely paramount here. An employer is looking for self-reflection and the ability to articulate your value, not an unrealistic self-assessment.
Exactly. Authenticity, coupled with relevance, is key. Now for the often dreaded, what is your biggest weakness? This question is a classic interview trap, but it's actually a golden opportunity to showcase self-awareness and your capacity for growth. The DO here is to choose a genuine but not job-crippling weakness, and crucially, immediately follow it with a concrete example of how you are actively working to improve it. Try something like, I used to struggle with time management, often taking on too many tasks at once. However, I've been actively using tools like digital planners and reminder systems to prioritize tasks. And I've seen a significant improvement in my ability to meet deadlines consistently. This response demonstrates profound self-awareness, which is knowing your own strengths and areas for development. And critically, it showcases a clear path of growth and proactive problem solving. It's about illustrating your commitment to personal and professional development rather than dwelling on a flaw.
This is a powerful demonstration of vulnerability in a professional context, but framed constructively. It's not about exposing a significant unaddressed flaw, but rather about demonstrating your capacity for self-improvement and resilience. What you absolutely don't say is the tired, cliched, and often eye-roll-inducing response, "I work too hard." Interviewers have heard this literally thousands of times, and it immediately sounds fake and overused. It suggests a lack of genuine self-reflection and an inability or unwillingness to provide an honest, constructive answer. It communicates that you're trying to game this system rather than genuinely engage with the question, which can be a significant red flag.
Oh, yeah, they can definitely see right through that one. Finally, a critical question that's often overlooked in terms of its strategic importance, but which is incredibly telling. Do you have any questions for us? This is your golden moment to shine and demonstrate genuine engagement, intellectual curiosity, and proactive thinking. The DO here is to always, always have thoughtful, insightful questions prepared. Excellent examples include: what does a typical day in this role look like, and how does this position interact with other departments? Or maybe, how would success be measured in this role during the first 90 days, and what opportunities exist for professional development within the team? These types of questions show you're genuinely interested in the day-to-day realities of the role, the team dynamics, and how your performance will be evaluated. They demonstrate seriousness, foresight, and a proactive approach to your potential contribution.
And what you absolutely don't say is a simple, casual, no, I don't have any being. This response immediately makes it seem like you don't care, you haven't prepared, or you're simply not engaged enough to think critically about the role, the company, or your future within it. It's a missed opportunity to deepen the conversation and show your strategic thinking. This is truly your chance to interview them, proving that you're seriously considering this opportunity as a mutual fit and that you're not just passively waiting to be chosen. It shows initiative and a professional curiosity that is highly valued.
You're absolutely right. This is your chance to interview them. It's fundamentally a two-way street, and demonstrating your intellectual curiosity is a huge plus, showcasing you as a thoughtful, engaged professional. So, for all these common questions, remember this overarching principle. Instead of striving for elusive perfection, aim to be clear, honest, and consistently focused on the job requirements and the value you bring. The goal isn't to deliver a flawless, robotic speech devoid of personality. Not at all. It's to comfortably and confidently express your experience, your genuine enthusiasm, and your unique fit for the role in clear, accessible English. Practice these answers rigorously, not just in your head, but out loud, or even record yourself. Listen back critically. This practice will help you feel completely at ease expressing your authentic self, even when the pressure is on. Now let's move beyond just the words themselves and uncover the critical, often overlooked realm of nonverbal communication and the subtle yet powerful impact of cultural expectations. So, you've diligently got your answers down pat. Your English vocabulary feels solid, and you've practiced your openings, your closings, and those common questions until they roll off your tongue. But then, after the interview, you walk out with this nagging feeling. Something was just off. You can't quite put your finger on it. It might not have been a single word you said, but rather how you said it or even how you stood. This is precisely where nonverbal communication and subtle cultural misunderstandings come into play. These silent signals are incredibly powerful, and they can absolutely make or break your interview, even if your spoken English is perfectly grammatical.
That's spot on. Even with strong verbal English, an interview can go sideways due to subtle nonverbal cues or a deeply ingrained cultural misunderstanding. Think of it this way. Your body is speaking volumes, even when your mouth is silent. In this chapter, we'll meticulously explore how body language and specific cultural expectations, particularly within a Western-style job interview context, can dramatically influence your interview success. Understanding these unspoken rules is as critical as understanding the vocabulary.
Let's dive into a truly significant one: eye contact. In many Western countries, particularly in professional settings like the United States, Canada, or the UK, maintaining appropriate eye contact during an interview is absolutely crucial. It's widely interpreted as a sign of confidence, honesty, sincerity, and direct engagement. But here's the vital nuance that can often trip people up. It's about steady, natural contact, a comfortable gaze that shifts occasionally, not an intense, unblinking stare that can actually make the interviewer feel uncomfortable or even, intimidated. It's a delicate dance of connection.
Indeed, finding that balance is key. Too little eye contact, for instance, by consistently looking down or away, can inadvertently signal a lack of confidence. Maybe that you're unsure of your answers, or even in the worst interpretation, that you might be attempting to hide something. Conversely, an unbroken, intense stare can be perceived as aggressive, socially awkward, or simply unsettling. This raises that important question about implicit cultural contracts. What one culture perceives as a respectful form of engagement, another might entirely misinterpret as evasion or a profound lack of confidence. For example, in some cultures, looking down, particularly when speaking to an elder or a superior, is a deeply ingrained sign of respect. However, in an English-speaking interview, the same gesture could be tragically misinterpreted as insecurity, disinterest, or even dishonesty. The powerful practical tip here is to consciously practice this balance in front of a mirror or with a trusted friend. Observe your own gaze. Does it feel natural and engaging?
Absolutely, it's about conveying presence and genuine engagement. Next up, the handshake, or these days, the consideration of not shaking hands. Before the global pandemic, a firm, confident handshake was an almost universally expected ritual, a powerful nonverbal sign of professionalism, confidence, and respect. Post-pandemic, the situation has become more nuanced and often depends on the specific company culture or even the individual interviewer's preference. However, if you are offered a handshake, it's vital to return it with confidence. This means it should be firm, but not bone-crushingly strong like you're trying to win an arm wrestle, nor too soft or limp, which can feel unenthusiastic or even a little dismissive. It's a tiny gesture, but it speaks volumes about your presence and respect in that initial moment of connection. Of course, in the context of an online virtual interview, a warm, genuine smile and a clear, polite verbal greeting will more than suffice.
Right. And beyond the handshake, your overall posture and the way you use gestures transmit equally powerful signals. Consider the impact. Slouching or leaning too far back in your chair can immediately make you appear lazy, disinterested, or profoundly unengaged. It communicates a lack of energy or commitment. The opposite is universally true for positive cues. Sitting up straight, maintaining an alert but relaxed posture, and leaning forward slightly can powerfully convey attentiveness, enthusiasm, and genuine engagement. Furthermore, consciously use open gestures, such as showing your hands when you speak, as this subtly implies honesty, transparency, and openness to ideas. Conversely, consistently crossing your arms can inadvertently signal that you are defensive, closed off, resistant to questions, or even unwilling to collaborate. If we connect this to the bigger picture of communication, open gestures metaphorically open the door to ideas and collaboration, while closed postures can inadvertently signal resistance to the interviewer's questions or to the general flow of the conversation.
That's a great way to put it. Think of it like a conversation your body is having. You want it to be a welcoming and collaborative one. Now let's talk about smiling. A natural, authentic smile, appropriately timed, can effectively convey friendliness, approachability, and calm energy, making you appear more personable and at ease. However, a constant, fixed, or inappropriately timed smile, particularly during serious or challenging questions, can unfortunately seem awkward, unprofessional, or even give the impression that you're not taking the interview seriously. It's about finding that crucial balance between warmth and gravitas. Our practical tip here is to consciously practice maintaining neutral, calm expressions. Watch videos of actual professional interviews in English and pay meticulous attention to how experienced professionals carry themselves, especially their facial expressions. Think of it like seasoning your food just enough to enhance the flavor, but certainly not so much that it overpowers the entire dish.
Another critical aspect, often overlooked, particularly for non-native speakers, is effectively managing silence and avoiding interruptions. In many English-speaking cultures, taking a brief pause to think before responding to a complex question is completely acceptable and, in fact, often appreciated. It signals thoughtfulness rather than hesitation or a struggle for words. A truly useful phrase to employ if you need a moment to gather your thoughts is, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for just a second." This buys you crucial time to formulate a well-considered answer while still sounding professional, composed, and articulate. What you absolutely must avoid is interrupting the interviewer. Even if you're incredibly excited to share an ideal, clarify a point, or jump in with a response, wait for your turn. Cutting someone off is almost universally seen as rude, disrespectful, and a sign of poor listening skills, regardless of your good intention or your excitement.
What's fascinating here is the deep cultural value placed on turn-taking in conversation.
It speaks to a fundamental respect for the speaker, the structure of professional dialogue, and the importance of active listening, especially in an interview setting.
That's a huge one. It's fundamentally about showing respect for the flow of the conversation and for the person speaking. And this next point is one I've seen so many incredibly talented English learners inadvertently fall into: the trap of over apologizing. It's a very common mistake to use phrases like sorry too often, for instance. Sorry, my English is not very good. While this might seem humble, polite, or even an attempt to manage expectations, it actually, and unfortunately, subtly weakens your perceived confidence and inadvertently draws unwanted attention to a perceived weakness that the interviewer might not have even noticed.
This is a powerful opportunity for reframing. Instead of an apologetic stance, which can convey insecurity, we want to transition to one of self-efficacy and active personal development, both of which are highly valued in any professional setting. Here's the profound truth. Learning another language, especially to a professional level, is not a weakness. It's a monumental sign of strength, dedication, resilience, and a remarkable willingness to step far outside your comfort zone. So instead of apologizing, we recommend an empowering alternative. English is my second language, and I'm proud of the progress I've made, and I'm always working to improve it further. End quote. This single sentence completely transforms how the interviewer perceives you. It shifts the focus from potential insecurity to inspiration and demonstrates your unwavering commitment to continuous learning and self-improvement. That one strategic shift in phrasing can literally change the entire narrative you're presenting about yourself. It's truly a superpower statement in an interview.
It truly is transformative. So let's quickly recap some vital vocabulary for navigating nonverbal communication effectively. We've discussed nonverbal communication, which is simply how we communicate without words, through our body language, facial expressions, and even our silence. We touched upon cultural misunderstanding, which occurs when a behavior or signal is misread because of differing cultural backgrounds. And finally, confidence, which is that fundamental belief in yourself and your abilities projected through your presence. The ultimate bottom line here is profoundly simple, yet incredibly powerful. Your body speaks volumes even when your mouth is silent. Learning to consciously match your verbal message with your nonverbal presence is an incredibly powerful skill. When your clear English and your confident body language work together harmoniously, you become not just understandable, you become truly unforgettable, leaving a deeply positive and lasting impression. Now, let's transition from understanding what to do to the truly crucial element: how to practice and build that real-time fluency for flawless application. So, you've absorbed all this invaluable knowledge. You know what to say, what not to say, and how to carry yourself in an English job interview. But here's the critical next step, the real challenge: actually articulating all of that smoothly, naturally, and confidently in real time, especially under the immense pressure of an actual interview. It's like the difference between meticulously reading a recipe and actually baking the perfect, delicious cake.
Right.
The secret ingredient, the transformational element to sounding truly confident and natural in an English job interview, isn't just accumulating knowledge, it is dedicated, strategic, and consistent practice. In this chapter, you're going to learn powerful techniques specifically designed to simulate a real interview scenario, train your English fluency for spontaneous conversation, and help you sound completely natural even when you're battling those inevitable, pesky interview nerves.
This point is absolutely crucial. It raises an important question about metacognition, which is your ability to observe, understand, and critically assess your own performance. Knowing the theory is foundational, but the practical application through consistent, deliberate practice is where the true transformation occurs. We've got 6 powerful practice techniques that will make a significant difference for you. First, And arguably one of the most accessible and effective is practicing with a mirror, or even better, with a camera. Stand in front of a mirror and literally pretend you're in an interview. Don't just think your answers in your head, articulate them aloud. This process physically helps your brain connect your abstract thoughts to real spoken words, making the delivery far smoother and more automatic when it truly counts. Then take it a vital step further. Record yourself on your phone or laptop.
Oh, this technique is incredibly effective. It provides such invaluable objective feedback that is otherwise impossible to get. When you record yourself, you can listen back critically, paying attention to your tone, those natural pauses, your pronunciation, and the overall rhythm of your speech. Ask yourself, am I clear? Do I sound genuinely confident? Do I use filler words like or like excessively? This self-assessment is like being your own personal communication coach. It allows you to precisely identify and fix your weak points, polish your delivery, and refine your answers before the real high-stakes interview, giving you a massive advantage.
It's exactly. Video recording offers that invaluable objective feedback that a mirror or just thinking simply cannot provide. Second, we highly recommend the technique of shadowing native speakers. Find professional interview videos, perhaps on platforms like YouTube or TED Talks, not just casual conversations. Watch how experienced native speakers answer real questions, noting their mannerisms and intonation. Then hit pause and repeat exactly what they said, consciously mimicking their pronunciation, their tone, their rhythm, and even their facial expressions. This technique, known as shadowing, is one of the fastest and most effective ways to truly sound natural in English. You're not just learning words, you're internalizing the music of English. The natural flow, where people naturally pause, how they place emphasis on key words, and how they seamlessly connect ideas in a fluid conversational flow. It builds an intuitive understanding of spoken English.
That's brilliant. It's like being an actor, but instead of just memorizing lines, you're becoming fluent in the feel and the cadence of the language. It builds an intuitive understanding that goes beyond just grammar rules. Third, to bridge the gap between structured preparation and spontaneous delivery, effectively use cue cards or a mini script. This is a remarkably smart way to solidify your answers without sounding robotic. For common interview questions, write the question on one side of a small card and jot down just a few key bullet points or an ideal phrase on the back. Practice speaking your answers aloud, referencing the card less and less until you no longer need it. This method helps you remember key vocabulary and the core structure of your responses without sounding like you're reading from a teleprompter.
This technique elegantly bridges that gap between structured preparation and spontaneous delivery, building a robust mental framework for your responses that allows for natural variation. You can also craft a mini script specifically for your personal introduction or your answer to "Tell me about yourself." For example, "Hi, I'm Maria. I'm a results-driven professional with over 3 years of proven experience in digital marketing, specializing in content strategy and SEO. I'm truly passionate about leveraging innovative online solutions to help businesses achieve significant growth and connect with their audience effectively." Practice saying this daily, repeatedly, until it flows effortlessly, almost becoming a natural rhythm, a part of who you are professionally. The goal isn't to memorize word for word, but to internalize the flow and key phrases so deeply that they become second nature.
That's such a powerful example of internalizing your professional narrative. It gives you a bedrock of confidence for that crucial opening. Fourth, time yourself. This is absolutely crucial for effective pacing. Most strong interview answers, particularly for common behavioral questions, should ideally be concise and impactful, generally falling between 30 seconds to about a minute. If your answer is too short, say only 10–15 seconds, it can sound like you don't know what to say or that you lack depth or specific examples. Conversely, if it's too long, rambling on for 2 or 3 minutes, the interviewer might lose interest or you might start repeating yourself. Use a timer during your practice sessions. Refine your responses to fit that ideal time frame, ensuring you cover all key points succinctly. Pacing is everything. You want to be concise and impactful, delivering just the right amount of information, not rambling or leaving them wanting more.
Fifth, and this is a common oversight, focus intensely on vocabulary that specifically matches the job you're applying for. Don't fall into the trap of trying to use overly complicated academic vocabulary just to impress. No. Instead, prioritize using precise, relevant vocabulary that clearly and authentically showcases your skills, your experiences, and your deep understanding of the role's demands. For instance, if you're applying for a customer service job, immerse yourself in and practice words and phrases like problem solving, patience, active listening, conflict resolution, empathy, and customer satisfaction. If it's an office administration or project management role, focus on terms like data entry, organizational skills, project coordination, time management, meeting deadlines, and cross-functional collaboration. This highlights the paramount importance of audience awareness. Effective communication in an interview is not just about what you want to say, it's about what the listener, the hiring manager, truly needs to hear, tailored specifically to their context and the exact demands of the role.
That's incredibly smart. It shows you're not just speaking English, you're speaking their language, the language of their specific industry and role. And finally, sixth, prepare for the inevitable, unexpected questions. Interviewers sometimes intentionally throw in tricky, unusual, or even strange questions just to observe how you react under pressure, how quickly you can think on your feet, and assess your problem-solving approach. The absolute key here is not to panic. Instead, practice a calm, professional response that buys you a little crucial time to gather your thoughts. Something like, "That's an interesting question. I haven't been asked that before, but here's how I'd approach thinking about it." Or, "That requires a moment of thought. My initial reaction would be to consider." This type of phrase gives you a crucial moment to pause, process, and formulate a thoughtful answer while still sounding composed, articulate, and professional. It's like hitting a curveball in baseball. You don't have to hit a home run, you just need to make solid contact and stay in the game. It demonstrates composure and problem solving, which are highly valued.
To recap some truly key vocabulary for effective practice. Simulate means to create a copy of a real situation for practice, allowing you to rehearse in a controlled environment. Fluency is the ability to speak smoothly and naturally, without excessive pauses or hesitation, conveying your message effortlessly. And cue cards are those small cards with concise reminders or prompts that help you recall key points without relying on a full script. Ultimately, the final, most empowering advice for your practice is this. Please, don't aim for an unattainable perfection. Aim for undeniable clarity and unwavering confidence. The more consistently you practice, the more fluent, natural, and professional you'll sound, even if you still make a few minor, almost imperceptible mistakes along the way. Remember this fundamental truth. Employers are not primarily looking for perfectly accented or grammatically flawless English. They really aren't. They're looking for someone who communicates well, listens actively, demonstrates genuine problem-solving abilities, and shows authentic motivation for the role and the company. That's what truly stands out.
That distinction between striving for perfection versus clarity and confidence is so incredibly freeing, isn't it? It empowers you to truly step forward with authenticity. Now, let's wrap up with what I believe is the ultimate power tool for interview success: your mindset. Let's be completely honest about this. Interviews are inherently nerve-wracking. You're stepping into a situation where you know you're being judged, tested, and you're expected to impress. And when you add the unique layer of doing all of that in a language that may not be your first, the pressure can feel truly immense. Your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, you're mentally reviewing every single word before it leaves your mouth. But what if I told you that the immense pressure you're feeling isn't what the interviewer is primarily focused on? Because here's the profound truth that often gets lost in the anxiety. Most interviewers are not obsessively looking for perfect English. What they are looking for is someone who communicates their ideas clearly, listens attentively to questions, and demonstrates a genuine, undeniable interest in the role and the company's mission.
This truth shifts the entire focus, doesn't it? It means your greatest strength in that interview isn't necessarily your flawless grammar or your native-like accent. It is, in fact, your inherent confidence and your foundational mindset. This raises a crucial point about what psychologists call an internal locus of control. This concept is the belief that you, rather than external forces, are primarily in control of your life's outcomes. In an interview, understanding this means shifting your focus from worrying about the interviewer's judgment or the perfect word to empowering yourself through your thorough preparation and your unshakable mindset. It's realizing that even if you can't control every question thrown your way, you can control your response, your attitude, and how you strategically present your capabilities. That internal power truly liberates your potential to shine, even under pressure. Let's delve into 5 powerful mindset shifts that can profoundly impact your interview success.
That's a profound reframe, transforming external pressure into internal power. First, consciously shift your focus from fear to value. Instead of agonizing over the debilitating thought, what if I make a mistake? What if I forget a word? Proactively reframe that question in your mind to, how can I most effectively show them the unique value I bring to this role and this company? Even if your accent is strong or you stumble over a word, the grace and composure with which you handle that moment matters so much more than the minor imperfection itself. If you find yourself momentarily getting stuck, stay calm, take a breath, and confidently say something like, let me rephrase that for clarity, or I'm not entirely sure how to phrase that perfectly in English, but I can explain the concept another way. This simple proactive act doesn't highlight a struggle. It demonstrates powerful problem-solving ability and emotional control qualities that are often far more valuable to an employer than a flawless vocabulary. It's a complete flip of the script in your own head, isn't it? From debilitating self-doubt to empowering self-worth.
It's a truly powerful reframe. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, never ever apologize for learning. Many English learners instinctively start sentences with phrases like, sorry for my English, or my English isn't very good. Please don't. But here's the profound truth that you must internalize. Learning another language, especially to a professional level, is not a weakness, not at all. On the contrary, it is a monumental sign of strength, dedication, incredible resilience, and a remarkable willingness to step far outside your comfort zone to achieve your goals. Instead of apologizing, transform that into a statement of pride and proactive development. Try saying, English is my second language, and I'm truly proud of the progress I've made, and I'm always actively working to improve further. That one powerful sentence can completely change how the interviewer perceives you. From someone who might appear insecure to someone who is confident, proactive, and genuinely inspiring. It powerfully transitions from an apologetic stance to one of self-efficacy and active personal development, which is highly valued in any professional setting.
That's an absolute game changer in how you instantly present yourself. It shifts the entire narrative. Third, prepare your mind, not just your words. Before your interview, don't just review facts and figures. Take a dedicated moment to engage in mental rehearsal, a powerful visualization technique. Picture yourself vividly walking into the interview room, feeling confident and composed. Imagine shaking hands firmly and genuinely connecting with the interviewer. See yourself answering questions smoothly, articulately, and with a sense of ease. Picture yourself leaving the interview with a profound sense of pride, accomplishment, and optimism. Elite athletes do this consistently. Top performers across every field do. It's not just woo-woo, it's neuroscience in action, actively preparing your brain for success. Your brain can't always perfectly distinguish between vivid imagination and actual reality, and this kind of mental rehearsal genuinely builds real, tangible confidence, making you significantly more likely to perform at your absolute best when it truly counts.
It's a proven method for performance enhancement. Fourth, embrace the often underestimated power of breathing and strategic pausing. When those inevitable nerves strike, and they will, remember to breathe. Slowly, deeply. Even just one calm, deliberate breath can powerfully interrupt the onset of panic, helping you regain your composure and mental clarity. And remember, Pausing before answering is not a sign of weakness or struggling. It is, in fact, a strategic tool. It clearly shows you're thinking carefully and thoughtfully about the question, rather than just blurting out the first thing that comes to mind. A short, well-placed pause can actually make you sound far more thoughtful, deliberate, and professional, enhancing comprehension and demonstrating unwavering composure, even under significant pressure. This is a sign of intelligence and consideration, not a language barrier.
It's incredible how much a simple, conscious breath can reset everything in a high-pressure situation. And finally, fifth, internalize this deeply liberating truth. Every interview you undertake is simply practice for the next one. The reality is you might not secure every job you interview for, and that fundamentally is perfectly okay. Please don't view it as a failure or a sign that your English isn't good enough. Instead, view every single interview as a valuable step forward in your professional journey. You will inevitably learn new questions you hadn't anticipated. You will discover even better ways to articulate your answers, and you will grow stronger, more resilient, and more confident with each and every experience. The absolute worst mistake you can make is avoiding interviews altogether because you feel your English isn't perfectly ready. The only truly effective way to get ready, to gain that invaluable real-world experience, that nuanced understanding, and that unshakable confidence, is to actively go through the interview process itself. Don't let the fear of striking out keep you from bravely stepping up to the plate and playing the game at all.
To recap our powerful vocabulary for this concluding section, mindset refers to your fundamental way of thinking, particularly about challenges and opportunities. Rephrase means to say something in a different, often clearer way to ensure understanding. And visualize means to imagine something clearly and vividly in your mind, a powerful technique for mental preparation and building confidence.
So, what does this entire deep dive mean for you? It means you fundamentally do not need perfect English to get the job you desire. What you truly need, and what we've meticulously explored today, is a powerful combination. Real targeted preparation that addresses specific interview scenarios, the ability to use natural, impactful expressions, confident body language that consistently supports and amplifies your words, and most importantly, a strong, resilient, and proactive mindset. If you've invested your time listening to this entire deep dive, it already means you care deeply about doing this right, about presenting your best self. And that commitment alone makes you an incredibly serious, highly competitive candidate in any English-speaking professional environment.
This really raises an important and overarching question. Beyond the immediate, tangible goal of landing your next job, how might applying these principles of self-awareness, strategic communication, and a positive, growth-oriented mindset empower you? Not just in job interviews, but in every aspect of your professional and even your personal growth. These are truly transferable skills that extend far beyond the interview room, enriching all your high-stakes communications and interactions.
Absolutely. Now it's your turn. Take these powerful phrases, practice them diligently, simulate the interview environment in your mind and aloud, and bravely take that next crucial step. You're not just ready for your next job interview, you're truly ready to embrace any moment where clear, confident, and impactful communication is the key. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into mastering your English job interview.